Hey everyone, welcome to r/talesfromtechsupport, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged, like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. So Tinker's Construct is now on Minecraft 1.16, did you know? Oh really? I work the help desk for the German Parliament, so lots of office workers and politicians on the older side call. This guy was a breath, a wisp, a delightful gust of fresh air. Caller calls has a problem we both kind of forgot, and while I remote in and do my thing to fix it, it was a longer call. We start talking. He seems to be in my age group. Turns out he's 10 years older. I'm 25, but close enough. So I shot my shot. Me. So this is kind of like insert feature Minecraft has. Dude. Oh, I see. Haven't played Minecraft in a while. Loved it though. Me, pumping my fist in silent triumph. Yeah, I don't really play vanilla MC either anymore. Mods though? Chef's kiss. The dude. I played with mods too. Me. Oh, which ones? Dude. Lists mods. Me. Neat. Oh, Tinker's Construct is on 1.16 now. A popular tool forging mod. At that point, newest MC version. They changed some stuff. You can just make casts out of sand now. Dude. Oh, really? Awesome. We go on for a bit until his problem is fixed, then hang up. That was one of those rare, very nice calls. Treasure those guys. Edit. What a small world. I've never played Minecraft, so if any of you guys want to fill me in on what I just read, let me know down in the comments. Lesson learned. Don't be organized. About 2 weeks ago, one of the managers raised a ticket about a new starter. This person wouldn't be starting until 1st of June. In normal circumstances, I'd not do it yet, but I found myself with time on my hands, so I set him up. Created the user, assigned licenses, set up the laptop, set up the profile, assigned training, amended policies, and begun the induction process. All in all, it took me about 4 hours. I commented to my colleague, "This is the earliest I've ever set a new starter up. I feel so organized." His reply, "Knowing your luck, he'll not turn up." I had to email said manager for clarification so I can amend the policies correctly. Her reply, "I think we need to hold off on anything for new starter. He hasn't replied to HR, and if we don't hear from him by tomorrow evening, his offer is rescinded." I laughed for a solid minute when I saw that. Serves me right. Yep, no good deed goes unpunished. But that's alright. You're still ahead of the curve no matter what from the sounds of it. You just lost your job. This is my first post and I'm terrible at writing, but here goes. I used to work for some really big real estate company as a remote help desk agent. I have tons of stories, but this one always made me laugh. I get a call from a really annoying lady that would always put in hardware orders for new hires last minute and expected the equipment to arrive before the new hire started working. Every time she would threaten us with reporting us to our managers if we didn't have her stuff in the office in time, but we honestly didn't care since there's nothing we can do about it. That depends on whatever company was used for shipping the item. This time she's extra rude and yelling that this new hire is a VP and he can't start without a laptop and a phone. Threats start, yelling gets worse. Tons of, "This ID department is completely useless." And I say, "Ma'am, you just put the order in yesterday and the ticket clearly states shipping is 3 to 5 business days, but either way, this is not an IT issue since it's not a technical issue. IT service request or any sort of service degradation." She gasps and says, the seriousness in her voice at that point was deadly, "That's it, you've just lost your job," and hangs up. Sure thing. I get called up to my manager's office to explain everything because she finally actually reported as she's been threatening to do for the past 2 years. I explained the situation to my manager, so our VP asked us for a list of tickets put in by her for this same thing. Of course, IT is not responsible for people ordering things late, and an annoying lady was laid off because everyone's getting their equipment, access, and badges late thanks to her. She calls a week later and asks to speak to me specifically. "I hope you're happy now. You left a single mother unemployed," and hangs up. Wait, what? I need to feel sorry for her not doing her job? Just another day at the help desk. Yeah, I just love when I get to take the blame for somebody else who doesn't know how to do their job properly. Not every forklift truck driver has a driver's license. Since working for that Chinese manufacturer of computer cases and PSUs and other computer-related hardware, I found out that there are a lot of third-party work suppliers that choose to have the cheapest laborers. Keep this in mind because this is setting the stage for my next story. I received an email from a customer with a request if we could help with some parts for his case. He explained that when he was carrying his rig downstairs to go to a LAN party, he fell down and busted his case really bad, and because of it, the frame was contorted. Did you hurt yourself? Yes, his pride and his rig. After asking which model the case was, I went to the warehouse to see if we had that older model still available. Now, when shippers handle our pallets full of carton boxes, with the latest model of cases, there's always a possibility of damage. With this particular case model, the forklift truck driver had punctured with the spoons 2 cartons because he hadn't lowered them enough to pick up the pallet. Spoons? That's funny, I always call them forks. From forklift. So we still had 2 useless cases which had punctures in the doors. I could take everything apart and ship the empty frame for a small fee to him, explaining to him why I was able to provide him with the frame so cheap. For the company, not a big deal since it was already a loss and was already paid out by the shipping company insurance. So actually not a very interesting story, you could say. But here's the kicker. Since that manufacturer has sales offices and people in different countries who need to keep an eye on any media coverage in their respective countries, a mail was sent company-wide. Who's the person who sold that frame to a customer? Since for the whole of Europe there is only one department who can independently sell items besides the sales department, it was clear the RMA department will have the culprit. Since I don't care about fallout, I answered it was me. The colleague then wrote that there was a post from the customer on a site like Reddit raving about the length of effort I had to put in to provide him with the frame and how cheap it was to get it. He only had to rebuild his rig and it was like new. Of course it was because it was in fact brand new. I only removed the damaged parts and had sent the remaining frame and other parts. Now I told the customer about the fact that there are terrible forklift drivers which can cause damage. In his article on that particular forum, he had recalled the fact that and found it funny. Later I got a well done mail from the general manager for doing such a good job. I had a bigger smile from the forum post to the customer because I did something which I would like to have done for me when I needed such a big favor. Well, it sounds like it all worked out, OP. It sounds like you kind of went against company policy, but at the same time, they made a couple bucks on a part that was already paid for by insurance. Not sure if that's legal where you are. You made a really happy customer and got a good review on Reddit. I'd take that as a win. Why your PSU is failing within your warranty period. I used to be working for a large Chinese manufacturer of computer cases and PSUs in Europe. When I received several complaints that the brand new PSU isn't starting anymore, I started questioning our customer about their setup, pointing out that it could be that when the customer added more hardware, the PSU couldn't provide sufficient power and would fail the boot power. Initially, we just accepted the return and sending a brand new equal PSU. But after testing the PSUs afterwards, we found that over 95% of the returned PSUs could boot a fully functioning rig, meaning heavy-duty graphics card, several HDs, SSDs, even a digital currency mining rig, in case of a PSU with more than 1,000 watts of power. So I started a questionnaire which we send out to customers which they need to fill in and return to us before we would grant them an RMA. All the customers had one thing in common. All those who had failed PSUs within the warranty period used the new ASUS boards, specific for overclocking digitally. Now, I'm not an electrical engineer, but I think that the strict boot timing on those boards will cause the boot time to fail with the aging PSUs of this Chinese brand. PSUs, as far as I know, are still mainly analog devices, so the older they get, the slower response they give to the boot sequence. Hence, the ASUS board will tell that the boot sequence, which has a response time limit, failed and won't start up. Many customers then tried a brand new PSU from us or other vendors straight from the box, and see it works, so it's our fault. The PSU isn't working. After we started refusing the return of the fake failing PSUs and telling the customers to try the failing PSU with another motherboard manufacturer, which do not have digitally set a boot response time, we received positive feedback that the PSU indeed still worked. I sent a message to the general manager about my findings with the suggestion that they should change the way the PSU is built and or contact ASUS about their boot timing. Never heard anything back from them. Management, that is. Since the customer needs to pay for the returning of the PSU to us from anywhere in Europe, and the manufacturer pays the shipping fees to the customer, my investigation saved the customer and us the sending fees. Because when we receive a PSU, it'll be checked if the complaint is correct. If not, and after the day of testing with benchmarks the PSU is working, we'll send the PSU back because no fault could be discovered. With the upfront questionnaire, we could already suggest steps the customer could perform to see if it's really the PSU or his other equipment was at fault. Yeah, that was a pretty slick catch, OP. it's good. You're saving everybody a lot of time and money by putting that questionnaire out there so that, check for compatibility. If it's just a compatibility issue, it's not your problem. I swear I'm a highly educated person. The year 2020. The location, a mid-sized nonprofit based in central Pennsylvania. I was working for a local MSP and we provided services to dozens of customers. Since the start of the pandemic, I'd been working remotely, and this one client decided it was going to partially reopen and requested on-site support for 4 hours, 2 days a week. I, of course, jumped at the opportunity to leave my house and have actual human interactions. After all, the offices would be on occupancy restrictions and mask mandates were in effect. My very first day on site, one of my favorite users, with whom I've worked with remotely for nearly a year, calls me into her office to tell me her wireless mouse isn't working. Now, she doesn't say, "My wireless mouse isn't working." Instead, she says, "So I used to only have one little USB thingy for my keyboard and mouse, but I must have lost one for the mouse because it doesn't work anymore." Intrigued, I picked up her mouse and lo and behold, it wasn't turned on. I flipped the switch and poof, magic sauce. She swears she did that and it worked for a minute and then it didn't. I told her, "Sure," with a smile and went back to my little office space. Shortly after going back into my office, I got a call to head to one of the residential homes that the client I was working for serviced. I headed out. I arrived back at the main office about an hour later, when I was immediately approached by the same user. "I told you, not 2 minutes after you left, the mouse stopped working again," she shouted almost boastfully. I followed her back to her office, flipped the power switch, light came on, and then faded immediately. Dead batteries. I proceeded to open the battery compartment, remove the single AA battery, and replace it with a new one. Good as new. She was in shock. She thought the mouse was powered by the movement and never knew it had a battery. As I laughed and joked, she said, "I swear I'm a highly educated person." "Of course I believe you," I replied as I smiled behind my mask and walked away. Okay, I could see where it's kind of funny that she didn't realize it was a battery-operated device, but at the same time, if she complained about it not working and you went to check it anyway, I would have either waited a minute to see if something happened and it quit within a couple minutes like she initially said, or just went ahead and replaced the battery right from the get-go. I mean, that's a cheap fix. Can't log into the computer. Long-time lurker here. This happened to me at my first IT job, and this was about 10 years ago. I'm still new to the company, learning everything, and get a call after lunch about not being able to log in. I tell the user I'll be right over to help. I get to the user's desk, which was part of the main reception desk with other users sitting by her, and she says she can't log in and proceeds to press buttons on the calculator on the desk, and nothing was working on the screen. To put this in perspective, this was just a regular calculator with a small LCD screen. I said, "Let me help you," and pulled out the keyboard tray and asked her to try now, and confirmed her logging in successfully. Kept it professional with her as she was a little embarrassed and went on my way. Easy ticket close. Holy cow, did she drink her lunch or something? How do you confuse a small calculator for your keyboard for your computer? Wow, it really does happen. Proper disclaimer. Tech support, general PC support. Note, these customers are complete strangers to me, not in-company people or anything. In all honesty, I feel kind of bad about this situation, but it was so unexpected and cliche. Situation: Google Chromebook not accepting password. Me: "Thank you for calling business. Could I get your name and email, please?" Customer gives me their info. I can't access my computer. I try entering my password and it doesn't work, but it tells me to go to site to reset. I can't do that if I can't get into my computer. Me: "You should be able to use the Browse as Guest option for the Chromebook temporarily to reset the password." Customer: "Can't you just give me the password?" Me: "No. I don't have your password. No one should have it except you." Turns out people really do ask for their passwords without any concept of the implications of some stranger you've never met having your Google account password. Yup, every darn day. It's not you. It's not us. It's... Quickie from a coworker the other day. We had a user come in who couldn't access Teams. Her Office apps were working and Exchange was working, but Teams wouldn't start due to a licensing error. So my coworker checked the license to make sure everything was correct. It was. We rebooted, reconnected, and searched through every possible issue, to no avail. We even tried signing her into another device and testing on there. The user spent about 40 minutes with us while we were trying to sort it out. Eventually, my coworker just tells her there's not much else we can do and to try it again later. She leaves. 5 minutes later, a message appears in our support team's chat. It's a link to the outage master ticket. The reason she had an issue and we didn't? Her app updated. We keep our team's app open 24/7. She had only just got back on her device, updating it on startup. Too long didn't read. An hour of troubleshooting won't fix an outage. Whoops. Yup, not really much you can do about an outage, is there? At least everybody seemed calm and patient about this one. It wasn't me. This happened a few years ago. One of our executives, who everyone absolutely despised, put in a ticket that some of her folders disappeared on her desktop. We run folder redirection, so everything is stored on our file server, which has a file auditing software installed. I go through the logs to see what happened. Lo and behold, it was her who deleted the folders. Me. Hi exec, I went through our logs and it shows that you deleted the folders, most likely by accident. I went ahead and restored them for you. Exec. That wasn't me. I didn't delete any folders or files. Me. 1 second, I'm going to email you something. Here's a screenshot showing your name, the date, and the time the folders were deleted. Exec. It wasn't me. Me. Okay, I'd like to contact our head of security to file a security incident because it looks like someone went into your office, sat in your chair, logged in as you, and deleted these files. Would you like me to contact security for you? Executive. Long pause. That won't be necessary. She thought she could save face by just denying it over and over. That's funny. Want me to call security? No. No, Mr. Engineer, you cannot insert a FireWire cable into a USB port. Longtime electronics tech here. This is a story from my internship way back in the early 2000s. My school, like all credible schools, required us to all have a part-time internship for the last semester before we could graduate. After a few weeks of looking, I secured one at a local affiliate of a national radio network. The broadcast engineer for our station was special, disorganized to the extreme, only broadcast background, no computing background at all. Two best examples of that are, 1. When I happened to stop in the office on my day off because I had forgotten something, we had just had a major thunderstorm blow through and knock out power. He's in the computer room on the phone with the corporate tech support and getting very agitated. He shoves the phone in my hand and has me take over dealing with them. Turns out one of our critical servers that should have come back up on backup power wasn't coming back up. Turns out he didn't have that server plugged into a UPS or even a computer-grade surge protector. Lo and behold, it was completely fried. Rebuilding it with parts corporate sent out turned out to be a rather fun project for me the following week, despite everyone from the on-air talent, my boss, and the station director chomping at the bit to get this repaired and back online. Turns out it was part of the EAS system, and they were facing fines every day it was offline, and they had to rely on other means to receive EAS messages. The second episode of his antics involved me installing a new PC and a new digital mixer board in 2 of our sound booths. I spent most of the first day getting the first booth upgraded the way he wanted in it. The PC installed in the equipment box where he wanted it and was routing the cables where they needed to go. I get to the point of hooking up the FireWire port on the mixer to the FireWire port on the PC he ordered. No FireWire ports. Crap. I take the cable into him and explain the problem. I tell him it can be fixed by a quick trip to Staples or Circuit City. Yeah, I know. He's not impressed. I'm an idiot. Just bend it to fit into the port. WTF? No, that's not going to work. Nope, I don't know what I'm talking about. He snatches the cable out of my hand and reaches for a pair of needle-nose pliers to straighten things out. While he's doing that, I turn to the computer on his desk and dogpile differences in USB and FireWire. I pull up a comparison picture just as he gets frustrated and gives up on the cable. He looks at what I found, yells, "Why didn't you tell me that?" just as the director walks into the room to ask a question. After seeing things are getting a bit tense, the director asks what's up. We both give our sides of the story. I'm told to go work on the other booth, and the engineer gets a butt chewing for the order mix-up, and is sent to the store to get the expansion cards we need to finish up. 2 days later, when I'm next in the office, I finish the upgrades and get the new system online, much to the sound guy's delight. Apologies for formatting. I'm in that I need sleep but my brain won't shut up mood right now. If I check this tomorrow, I doubt I'll like how it turned out. You know, I understand everybody's not going to know everything, but when you took the time to explain to him what the issue was, and how easy of a fix it was, why didn't he just listen? Why didn't he think for a minute? Instead of just thinking you're going to modify a new cable to do what you want it to do. Incredible. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. If you've enjoyed this content, would you do me a favor? Would you consider giving this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and maybe click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya!